No, they never
You
see.
also had, as you could see, this was posted by Candace Owens. Candace basically had a full show stating a lot of, let's call it facts or stats, let's call it stats, that she basically summarized, in which she was trying to point out that the movement is looking in the wrong direction, to summarize it,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
It
I
seemed
think.
like she was trying to state, that's what she was trying to state
Yeah,
with her video. In the past, well, you don't have to agree with everyone all the time. Sometimes you might think that person is a idiot,
to say the least.
a, a moron. Not that I'm saying that I think she's an idiot, but sometimes I don't agree with her. But in this case, the things she mentioned, she had some valid points.
Yeah,
Sometimes you gotta give someone also props
yeah,
regards to certain points.
yeah. And I think she talked about, for example, the high abortion rate
Hmm.
in New York. I think she said that in 2012, the amount of abortions was, and this is crazy, it was higher than the births.
Hmm.
Uh, she also talks about how obesity is actually the biggest killer of black people, and
And now the cops.
not the cops, of course, not the cops.
Mm,
And black on black crime violence is pretty high as well. But regards to obesity, I think she said that in the United States, 56% of women are regarded as are considered obese.
mm.
And with obesity, um, she mentions, and I think this is also what Kanye West alluded to, but he didn't go deep into this. But that we are in a generation living in a time where you can it's when you say something like this, it can even be considered fat shaming, right? But being overweight has health risks, and
Hmm.
um, she talks about the she talks about how we are glorifying, for example, Lizzo, who is she's fat,
Obese.
she's obese, she's both, and she's in a risk of you can laugh, but it's the truth, and she's in the risk of uh, a lot of medical complications. But instead of people telling her, and I do, and so there's a double sense. I think that we should always at, respect people, and we should always treat people with respect. We should always um, remember that everyone has the same worth as people. No one is worth more than the other. Well, financially, maybe sometimes, but not in human lives. Well, actually, if you ask a insurance company, they will say
I was
otherwise.
about, I was, I was about to say, but
When you ask insurance companies, they'll say otherwise. But I mean, if you're overweight, you might not get. If you're overweight, that might be a factor for you not to get, let's say, a certain loan, or a certain insurance, because they do see that as a risk. So, and she's saying that instead of, let's say, if Black lives really matter, then we should be telling Black people, okay, guys, we have to start eating healthier. There should be a movement on eating healthier. There should be a movement on exercising, um, because because most deaths come from obesity. But we don't do that. Instead, we say that there is an oppressor out there, and it's the oppressor's fault that we're in this situation. So, and I'll just say this, and we can continue. It's a clear, when you look at the debate between, let's say, Black Lives Matter, you have two groups, you can say. You have one group that, and I will be very extreme in this example, one group that only focuses on what the or that mainly focuses on what the society is doing towards them, and one group that says, well, I don't care about what society thinks, or what the leaders think, or what the people in power think. I have control over my future, and I will work hard to achieve my goals. And I think there's a place for both. There should be a place for both in our society. But comes to the point, you need to listen to each other.
One thing she also said, but maybe you didn't chime on that, or maybe you wanted to do that later. She was also pointing next to obesity that um, focusing on education should be also a point. I think she mentioned a couple of very interesting statistics regarding young men in California not being able to read and write at the standard or minimum level for their age groups. A high percentage. I don't recall the percentages because she was summing them up back to back to back. So I lost track at a
Yeah,
certain point, but I was shocked at the high rate of young
illiteracy.
men of, yes, you can call it illiteracy, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
slightly not being on the level they had to be on that at that age. So I think
And
that's something.
yeah, you also
I'm
have
sorry.
financial literacy, right? So you have the literacy, so what you learn at school, and also
Yeah,
financial literacy, uh, how to deal with money, how to manage money. We're out here, people are out here with 5, 6 credit cards, traveling instead of investing. These are also things um, that really has negative consequences for the Black community.